Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Gaming the Max and part 4 of our Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich, the German Empire. So, in the last episode, we did overthrow the Red General's government in favor of the the Black, White, and Red Coalition. On top of that, we've just been working to try to get our economy back into somewhat of a resemblance of anything that's not what it is right now. And Ukraine has had a rebellion start right at the end of the last episode by the Republican forces over here in the west. The Mingding insurgency has finished out its conquest over here in China. Our troops down here in German East Asia do not seem to be doing too well at all. Better artillery. Remental. Right. Jabal Shamar declared war on Najd and Haas. Right. We are hurting everywhere, especially Black Monday pretty much has put us on the back foot, that is for sure. We've won this card game. We really need to get our political power fixed. Let me pause. I want to look at my production real quick. All right. Luxembourger Party of the Right proposes Malkofruxitz. The strikes in Luxembourg, which has already been very vulnerable to syndicalist agitation and mobilization, have made rounds in the small states chamber of deputies located near France on the frontier before the syndicalist bloc and highly industrialized with powerful unions and local socialist organizations. Has been highly anxious of a possible socialist revolt since 1920. Prime Minister Joseph Beck, representing the Luxembourger Party of the Right, has proposed a law to curtail the growth of socialism in Luxembourg, the law for the defense of the social and political order. Opponents of the law, however, have taken to call it the muzzle law or the Malkofruxitz. It would give the government the power to dissolve any other organization believing to be threatening the Constitution. As a result, it has been highly criticized by socialists and the Luxembourg SPD, who claim that Beck intends to use the law to ban all opposition to his government and orchestrates the creation of an authoritarian regime with the Ruhlkampf as more excuse. This worrying growth of authoritarian elements within the party of the right, influenced by the authoritarian anti-socialist turn in the rest of Germany, certainly gives these claims credence. Give full support to Beck. No socialism here in Germany. Try to hold out. See what these guys can do. We're going to try to establish the federal income tax here. It has passed in the muzzle law passes in Luxembourg. The Chamber of Deputies in Luxembourg passed the infamous law with a majority vote. However, this was not the end of the story. Enormous protests took to the street in the small western state, demanding Beck's resignation and the revocation of the anti-democratic muzzle law. Criticism at the national level was equally fierce. Numerous parties, including the SPD, LVP, and either progressive elements of the Zentrum, lodged their criticisms, especially as neither the Luxembourg government nor the major steel producers have ever considered negotiation with the strikers. However, Beck received the endorsement of the Reichschancellor and his government, and subsequently the wide breadth of right-wing media throughout the empire. Throughout the following weeks, endorsements of the Maltgifgrits drowned out criticism and ultimately led to the protests against the law receding in Luxembourg. Still, however, most believe that the state is heading towards outright authoritarianism. Finally, some progress, plus 10% stability. The intensity of the rural uprising is reduced by 10 points. Luxembourg removes Ruhrkampf, and the Viers also removes it. Costa Rica requests a German garrison. Rising instability in the U.S. Why am I having such... Oh, yeah, Costa Rica. Rising instability in the U.S. with the nearby regimes in Central America having forced the small nation to come to us for aid, reminding us of the strong ties between our two nations and the significant German population living in their territory. They asked us we station a small regiment in San Jose to deter foreign threats. Well, this was a short-time indication on our relations with the U.S. We're sure that they will understand that we're acting for the greater good. Yeah, we'll send a small garrison to Costa Rica. Alright, we established the federal income tax. We can escalate the Ruhrkampf suppression. Through the thousands of workers fooled by socialist subversives, many have legitimate grievances. Their struggle for right must take place in the legislative arena, not in the form of violent street clashes. We must mobilize our forces and suppress the Rhenish general strike swiftly. Kind of wish the DKP would, have more than 2% of the views, but it's all right. Paternal autocrats are rising slowly. Greece joins the Belgrade Pact, Romania, and Serbia. So Bulgaria is about to fall, about to be attacked. A new hit to our Black Monday card game. We can issue money. Well, we have an inflation, so capital control gives us 3,000 stability, 750 investment. We don't. So, alright, we'll have to do this one. This one gets our stability way high enough, but our stagnation isn't. We can... Let's get this. Alright. We can drop our reform card, which debt score is reduced by 5% at the end of each turn now, so every 30 days. But it adds a flat 4% right now. Alright, let's do that. Let's do that. Alright. We got way enough stability. But we've got federal income taxes now, which should begin to drop down this debt. And then on top of that, when this is above or equal to -5. So when this is -4, we'll be able to do the conservative revolution. So... the Austrian Empire announces its support for Bulgaria. On the initiative of Serbia, representatives of several countries can convene in Belgrade to discuss political and military situation in the Balkans. In these 14-day-long events, Serbs, Romanians, and Greeks plot to create a so-called new order in the Balkans, even going as far as to create a 14-point resolution which declares only the self-determination of people according to their ethnic allegiances may be considered as a just passage of sovereignty and territorial claims. Clearly, the Balkans are restless once again, and the resolutions of the Belgrade Congress will surely be used to justify a common war against Bulgaria and ultimately the Austrian Empire. The Austrians have called for an international arms embargo on the Balkan states to support Bulgaria, so we announce our support for the Bulgarians as well. Only Bulgaria will keep the Balkans stable. Alright, so we're good on that. Zhu Di secures power in Yunnan. So you should see the... Oh yeah, these are radical socialists, that's right. Floyd Olson is elected president in the United States. Decline in filth or spiritual reconstruction. Temporary peace within the right wing of our coalition has ceased today as Alfred Hugenberg has returned back to the fray with an explosive new article. Though he's been shunned from the cabinet and was understandably furious about not being representative, Hugenberg stated that he is hesitant to criticize the cabinet and keeps his misgivings to himself. After all, in spite of their deficiencies, the Kleist cabinet is the best thing that has happened to German conservatism in the past 2 decades. Silence has ceased as Der Tag has published an article titled Decline in Filth or Spiritual Reconstruction, which Hugenberg personally lodged criticisms towards the half measures of the black, white, and red coalition government instead of sweeping away the liberal and Jewish construct that has been imposed upon the empire in 1920. He says the national right has entered into business with democracy, and the result is that its own position is made more difficult. In the same article, he demands that Kleist's cabinet to implement harsh measures against socialism in favor of business interests to destroy the fifth column and rejuvenate the German economy. We're all on the same side here. The rift within the DVLP is growing. Better machine guns. Soft attack and reliability for our rifles. We got that. We can slash welfare spending, which we won't. We can do India. I'm going to renew the Treaty of Mentz. There's so much to do. That's why I'm looking at. We have the Tarno-Bod plan, which is establish price massive public works or expand. Let's do secure Middle Europa trade links. We need to get this down to 4, so 2 more months. It's at 20. So let's do, yeah, that hurts. But intensity of the uprising is reduced, and then arrest labor activists. Alright, so if we can hit 0, Sweden petitions to join the Reichspakt. With heavy concern, Sweden has been watching as their Norwegian neighbor collapses to syndicalism and starts openly affiliating with the regimes in Paris and London. While the Swedish government values Sweden's tradition of neutrality, this is too great of a threat to ignore, and now they petition to stand with us as combined vanguard against the Red Menace, and with their steel reserves at our disposal. Welcome to the fight, our Swedish brethren. I didn't know Norway fell to communism. There you go. There's the Spanish Civil War, which I think we can go, if we go down the Treaty of Metz, we could do this one, which we might. One click, declares has their little civil war. Federalists in the Baradia Commune. Better boats. I wonder if we'll get to 0. If I click on that, I don't think it will. End the state of emergency in the Rhineland. So we get rid of Ruhrkampf. The Ruhr general strike is over. Moderate revisionist factions of the uprising who sought material gains for the workers have either been appeased or surrendered due to supreme forces from Berlin, or radicals which envisioned the rising as the foundation of a German revolution has been scattered for now. An uneasy peace has set in the Ruhr. Conservative press has already proudly declared victory against syndicalists and anarchist terrorists who fought to overthrow the state and bring forth a reign of terror. The liberal and social counterparts are more reserved, their journalists commenting that such incidents are likely to continue unless a comprehensive reform to our labor law and social security is passed. Though some agree, others, such as Hugenberg concerned and other far-right activists, were only radicalized in their opposition to socialism by the events. Gain plus 10% stability. So we're at only -5 now. We were at negative, like 40 something at one point. Democratic left victory in Brazil. We can establish the Indochina intervention forces. How bad are they doing? They're doing pretty good, but let's send them these weapons. I need you all to survive. You're going to request arms from us anyway. Weapon manufacturer in Middle Africa. Under the auspices of Karl Ritter and his 4-year plan, Middle Africa has made progress in light industrialization using the great labor force of Africa for the production of simple rifles. While these weapons are crude and certainly not fit for use in German hands, this means that several shipments of the weapons once destined for Africa are no longer needed there. Awesome. Xing click. Eruption war. Oh, you can do the endangered species. Change of course on the countryside. The new government has not been in power for long and already has had to face its first major challenge, the creeping agrarian crisis on the countryside. Over the past 12 months, even during the brief Schichler intermezzo, State Secretary of Agriculture Martin Schichel, a prominent representative of Kuno von Vesch's moderate leadership of the DKP, a well-connected man within Lundbund, has remained in office despite enormous criticism. A prime representative of German agrarian lobby, renowned for his efforts to partially uplift the situation of many farmers during the late 1920s and early 30s, shall continue to deeply convinced that a further pursuit of his protectionist tariff policy in connection with stricter import quotas would be able to bring Germany salvation. The end goal was complete autarky of the German agricultural sector. This plan, however, has now failed, in large part because of the enormous resistance of Middle Europa proponents, export industry lobbyists, and trade union leaders who are fearful that Schell's plan might aggravate the economic dilemma by destroying wage levels and hampering profitable trade with other countries. Germany's agriculture most profiled advocate is faced with the ruins of his own collapsed house of cards. His efforts have only postponed the inevitable. Now, one thing is clear: with the situation still deteriorating and the rural population becoming more and more radical, Schell and his methods need to replace. Germany's new agricultural policy needs to start with a clean slate. But who will fill that role? Striking the standing of the DVLP. There's a coup in Algiers. By who, though? Henry Modoc. Socialists assume full control in Norway. The DKAEB stays afloat. There was a rare spot of good news today in the terrible year of 1936. The DKAEB Railroad in East Africa has reported profits for the third quarter. It seems the Ethiopians and Middle African government have cooperated to keep the trading link open. Our relationship with Ethiopia seems to be secure and might deepen to alliance eventually. Good news. The Norwegians joined the Third International. Alright, so German. We can deport ringleaders to the commune. The aggressive ringleaders of the general strike, those who aren't prominent enough to be arrested, shall be removed from the political life by deporting them to the communards. They'll be brought to the Elestine border and stripped of their citizenship. May they rot in Paris and its bland worker blocks. Gain 10% stability. That would make us positive stability in the first time in a long time. So we'll do that. So we should see this drop to 144, hopefully. Yep. Alright, so the federal income tax is working. Italian democracy survives. Central European Customs Union returns to activity after the beginning of the economic crisis caused by Black Monday stock market crash caused Germany to draw its attentions away from foreign affairs for the past year. The Central European Customs Union, more commonly known as Middle Europa, has returned back to action. Once again, summits of foreign affairs ministers of the organizations are being held, each one with the intention of coordinating the economies of the alliance and facilitating easier flows of goods. Over time, Middle Europa expanded to several official and unofficial fields of activity, and the interests of the member states may take it to aid in one field or another. Of course, certain intellectuals and politicians envision a bit more and dream of the chance to reform the organization and create something new, a German economic hegemony, a fulfillment of pan-European dreams. Time will tell. We now get the Middle Europa mechanics, and its focus tree is open. So the president is us. The royal scandal. We're doing industrial projects. Bohemia and Poland are for arms industry. A royal scandal. Another day, another sensational rumor about the royal family's dark secrets making round. This time, Crown Prince Wilhelm and one of his many alleged love affairs stand in the center of attention again. Censorship on the articles that openly defame the Hohenzollerns and threaten their reputations is very resolute. And most mainstream newspapers try to refrain from publishing such controversial articles in the first place out of respect. With the quick emergency of the less professional tabloid press in recent years, however, some unpleasant information always seems to slip through to the public. Considering the Crown Prince's relatively low popularity, barely anyone can really be expected to be shocked by the new headline, though. Only in the heart of the empire, the Reich Chancellery, did the future monarch behavior cause more than great displeasure. Reich Chancellor's close view on the role of the democracy, or the role on the monarchy and the nobility in the general are peculiar, to say the least. Deeply fascinated with the Prussian spirit and the divine right of kings, he's convinced that the state is kept alive by the forces that once founded it. However, with the God-given rule that the king plays with society, certain important duties come. The true conservative selflessness serves his people just as God intended him to do. Cleese believes and doesn't put personal interest above anything else. Such as notions are responsible for the Reich Chancellor's quite idealistic perception of the autocracy and the second estate. In order to be respected by the common man, subordinate to them, they need to be heroic, determined, loyal to their own convictions, just and full of faith, all of which are traits that the Crown Prince is lacking. While Wilhelm's extramarital adventures may not be that important to the general public and won't inherently harm the royals per se, they could hamper the new government's ambition reform plans in the future on a more subtle level. After all, the behaviors of a decadent, egotistic sovereign is likely to rub off on the population that is guided by the formal, causing a loss of morals and traditions, eventually losing the proud German nation for the conservative cause forever. After a secret emergency session with the high-ranking government and Kaiserreich determined certain actions must be taken. Terrible. We caught a British operative. And Austria has canceled their non-aggression pact with us. Wilhelm Schavenwert. We'll do better light attack for everybody. Alright, let's see. We need one more down. Let's do it. Middle Europe alone. Land improvements. Assistance from the Eastern Reichspact. And that's got us. That's it. We're at 152% of the GDP. Alright, direction of the military. It said long ago that Prussia is an army with a state, and though Germany has advanced beyond this brutish image somewhat, it is no surprise that the Imperial German Army is one of the most influential and valued arms of the empire. The Weltkrieg has given it an aurora of invincibility, and though it may be true, the army is nonetheless mirrored by issues that must prove to be its Achilles' heel. A vicious inter-service rivalry lacking central coordination and a calcified aristocratic officer corps are just some of the many problems that were the OHL and the Prussian Minister of War. Factions or cliques have formed within the army, each with a different vision. The Reformisten are the followers of the idea of the light Hans von sect and are represented by the current Chief of Staff, Kurt von Hammerstein-Eckert. They envision a centralized, modern, professional army open to all social strata and employing combined arms, mechanized warfare. On the other side of the fence are the Altgardisten, the old establishment who form mere streamlining of the existing army structure. Finally, off to the side, Der Front, championed by generals such as Joachim von Struppelnagel, which for a nationalistic, idealized military fit for total war that will require the mobilization of the nation from top to bottom. The entrenchment of the army in politics means that each of the three factions have powerful allies in the Reichstag and a preferred government of choice. Now that the dust is settled, the winners of the political battle of 1936 are free to support their allies in the army and shape the military according to their vision. We go with the old establishment streamlining. Makes sense. Princely Federation declared war on Mysore and nationalist coup in Bolivia. The fall of Madrid. The Kingdom of Spain is not faring very well. Just hold out, Spain. Hold out. Alright. Bronislaw. The dismissal of Scheil means the loss of a key minister of the DKP and thus potentially a massive loss of power in favor of the DVLP. Therefore, it is clear in order to keep the balance within the coalition, his successor must also hail from Westrup's party. However, nowadays conservatives don't mean conservatives anymore. Even the old DKP has evolved into a diverse party with many ideological different wings, and depending on which of these will be able to provide Scheil's replacement, things may not end as well for the old moderate leadership around Westrup. Especially in connection with the pressing agricultural question, two powerful factions emerged in the last few years, between which Scheil recently managed to mediate more or less successful. On the other hand, there are classic Prussian aristocratic landowners, the Junkers, reactionary, elitists, and narrow-minded by nature. They are mostly keen on two things: preserving the societal status quo and protecting their traditional property. A popular young politician from the ranks is the Rhenish agricultural functionary Hermann von Luneck, who is well connected both within the local Lundbund and in Catholic farmer organizations, willing to balance the interests of landowners, farmers, and the industry. He is seen as a compromise candidate with good relations to the party leadership. The second major group are the non-aristocratic small and mid-sized farmers, many of whom hail from central and southwestern Germany, vastly outnumbering the Junkers. They are an up-and-coming political force to be reckoned with. The economic crisis has reopened old wounds between the two groups. Mistrust is at an all-time high, and appeasing the farmers with a government office and involving them in the political process could calm tensions down. However, many of these farmers adhere to the quite radical ideals of the Volkisch Corpus touch, quite similar to DVLP's vision, thus choosing the non-aristocratic candidate Hans Schochinger, a renowned agricultural expert from Pomerania, could benefit Hassel more than Westrup in the long run. Strengthen the standing of the DKP. I wish I could. The voice of the common man. I don't really want to help the DVLP. Get more political power. He's a good compromise, though. I will choose Schlong. He's among the most renowned personalities of the Conservative Party, while technically a Junker of non-aristocratic origin. The longtime leader of the Pomeranian DKP branch has more in common with the small and mid-sized farmers west of the Elbe when with his reactionary grain-growing brethren in East Elbia. His estate, Gut Schöningen, near Stettin, is regarded as an internationally renowned model business that has survived the agricultural and economic crisis thanks to clever entrepreneurial management, and Schlang know-how is undisputed in all political spheres. What's not undisputed, however, are his methods. He's in favor of an interventionist approach when it comes to solving the agrarian crisis. In his eyes, a true agro-political turnabout is needed, at the end of which there will be a German East that is economically strengthened and nationally consolidated. Schlang ultimately strives for a complete restructuring of the agricultural economy, especially in East Elbia, via indirect land reform. Too heavily indebted Junker states will not be bailed out by the state, but parceled out among small and mid-sized farmers, or resettled by unemployed factory workers or farmer hands. Schlang's pragmatic, efficiency-oriented vision is not only rooted in his background as an experienced agricultural economist, but also his ideological implications. The combination of the agrarian revitalization in eastern settlements is embraced as a project to awaken the colonial or colonizer spirit of the Germans and thus lead the people back from the overpopulated city to the productive work on the rural soil which gives food and life. With such almost revolutionary plans are opposed to the ideas of many of his party colleagues, but could really guarantee an improvement to the disastrous situation of German agriculture in the long run. One thing is clear: his appointment will provoke tension. A Junker speaking for the common rule of people is not what I expected to see. He gives us plus 10 recruitable population and plus 10 infrastructure construction speed if hired. And is hired if there are any open political advisors, which there are. Alright, the war on socialism. Another day, another issue with the reactionary faction of the DVLP. This time, the pragmatic actor is one of Hugenberg's top lieutenant, Paul Bang, who has come to the fore with a series of scathing anti-socialist articles. Ever since the Ruhrkampf, the right worries about cynical sabotage and interference in German politics has been at a record high, and Bang has fanned the flames. The enemy is on the left, and the left does not merely refer to the small and powerless communist parties filled with French spies and puppets. The SPD, according to Bang, is complicit in forming the right conditions for syndicalist influence to be channeled among German workers and intellectuals, perhaps even willingly. Needless to say, the SPD, which has had to fight off such accusations for decades, disagrees, but support for Bang's hardline anti-socialist stance is found among the far right, and he has been endorsed by figures such as Magnus von Letzau, Ruhr and industrial magnates, and Alfred Hugenberg, who can't wait to crush trade unions and worker activism in order to increase productivity, are on the same side as the reactionary members of the Fatherland Party as well. Hassel's wing leading the DVLP on the right hand would prefer a more measured and careful approach. Of course, the destruction of social democracy is the goal of everyone in the black, white, and red coalition, but should they really be so hasty? We can say, hey, stop, or we can say, or we can hurt our political power, and it hurts the national populace. I will allow for the party rift. Say, hey man, chill. The Reichslandbund, Germany's most powerful agrarian lobby group, claims to be equal representative of the interests of the Junkers and small-scale farmers alike, but due to the sheer power of the Junker-dominated local associations in East Elbia, head office in Berlin has always pursued a course that primarily benefits the most powerful backers. That needs to change since landowners are skeptical of our political agenda. The small holder elements in the organization and the board must be strengthened through intrigues, indirect interference in the local chairman elections, and contracts with men at the municipal level. Modifies disorderly agrarian policy by plus 20 weekly stability, and we gain political power. So hopefully we can do all of these. We're waiting for one more tick. 72 days. Or 70 days. And then, better artillery. We can reward loyal trade unions, which gives us a political advisor with negative 10% recruitable population, negative 5% consumer good factories, factory output plus 10, and factory production efficiency growth by 10. We will actually demand the renewal of the Treaty of Metz. Try to go help Spain as best we can here. Start researching sonar. A slap across the face. Hugenberg's near ceaseless presence in the political sphere earns him allies, but also many enemies, both on the right and on the left. Recently, his conflict with the ruling coalition has gotten a DKP-affiliated newspaper to publish an article which has dealt a slap against the old rat's face. It accused Hugenberg of being a Republican. The evidence in favor of this claim is numerous. Few believe that Hugenberg holds any love for the monarchy, especially ever since Wilhelm II tactfully allied with the reformists in the Reichstag and toppled the OHL during the war. Hugenberg openly expresses his demand for a national dictatorship that could enforce wide annexation gains in the East and West. And if the Kaiser does not agree, as he supposedly said, then the Kaiser should go. Few also believe that Hugenberg would wish to share power with anyone if he became Reich Chancellor, even the Kaiser himself. Hugenberg, who's kept his frosty relationship with the monarchy on the down low since the Volkskrieg, is obviously unhappy with this, and he demands Hassel to act. That this is a clearly defamation of his character, and such attack by a member of the coalition cannot be tolerated. Perhaps you should have kept your mouth shut, old man. We will be probably splitting away from the Fatherland Party. The revolt in Ukraine. For some time, the German client state of Ukraine, led by Hetman Pavlo Skorodobinsky, has been embroiled in an uprising led by the Republican opposition. Originally operated in Austrian Galicia, now it seems the future of the Hetmanate is secured, but the news Republican forces have been driven out of the country, barring a few small pockets of resistance. In the wake of the revolt, the Hetman government has continued its conservative course on the ruling of Hetman coalition, but expected that the upcoming election will be a pivotal point, one that may shake up Ukrainian politics greatly. So he held out. Uprising in Ukraine is crushed, plus 2% stability, and plus 2 to our popularity of paternal autocrats. 60 days, almost 2 months, and we should be able to start with our conservative do rapid fire for our anti-air and anti-tank, which we're not even producing. Rise of the Luxembourg. Let me move these up. We will be phasing out the light tanks here in a little bit. Rise of the Luxemburger fundamentalists. Worrisome developments are taking place in the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. The passing of the milk frigates has already resulted in the banning of the KAPD, KPD, and other far-left parties of Luxembourg soil, but this is not enough for the entrenched regime of the party of the right. The Monarchist was endorsed by the fundamentalist faction of the party, championed by priest and party ideological John Baptiste Esch. He believes that the party of the right could form a single-party state on the principles of political Catholicism and the collaboration of the social classes. It is known that the president of the coalition, Joseph Beck, is sympathetic to their ideas as well, and so many in the party. After all, they live on the border with the Commune, and few in Germany fear French revolutionary belligerents more than they do. Strengthened and emboldened by the passing of the Monarchists, the fundamentalists have increased their hold upon the party and pushed through several additional reforms. In Luxembourg, all parties beside the party of the right have been severely restricted. A government-controlled Christian trade union was established, and all independent unions were banned. Freedom of the press has been restricted. Luxembourg has become an authoritarian regime. As a Frankfurter Zink described, it's a dictator ulcer in the heart of Germany. Curious, we gain +1 popularity, authority, democracy, and paternal autocracy. Communards accept. Good. Reinforce Alsatian fortifications, which is 42 days. Oh, we can do standoff in America, the die conservative revolution there. Max Burr, a new article submitted to the military Volksblatt, the magazine of the Her, which has served as primary publication of the military since 1816, has made rounds among the readership. It was penned by Max Burr, an infamous officer in the general staff in the Weltkrieg who later rose to the rank of general before his retirement. Most famously, he was a protege of Erich Ludendorff and considered his right-hand man. Much of the so-called Ludendorff dictatorship during the Weltkrieg was his initiative, and the near-total mobilization of the nation during the last years of the Weltkrieg was envisioned by him. As a result, he has become a sort of symbol and respected spiritual predecessor to the officers in general who desire for the Heer to transition towards total war. Burr's article, drawn from the Weltkrieg experience, reflects this. He is highly critical of the government lack of interest in military matters and predicts that the next great war in Europe will be even more total than the last. Such a war can only be won by complete dedication to the state's entire resource-based war. Without hesitation or qualms, there's little illusion that this implies a totalitarian military dictatorship. Let him fearmonger and bluster. We will never lose a war. Don't say that. Don't say that. Alright, the Serbians have declared war on the Bulgarians. Let's see. Send volunteers. We can send 4. Alright, so send volunteers. We will send our medium tanks. 4th Balkan Wars. And we will send our mountaineers, if we're able to. Some mountaineers, and we'll send air wings down there. I need to look and see what I got. Let's get all these air wings in one area. There's a lot of tactical bombers. And let's merge them. Take you, delete you, send you down, send you down. Put you all on intercept. Greece, put you all strategic bombing, port strike, logistic strike. My tanks will go to probably fight against Romania. Might fight against Serbia with my tanks. My mountaineers will fight against Greece. 30 days. We will do the Legion first Leopold, and then we will do the conservative revolution there. Don't know if the Kingdom of Spain will last that long, but we can hope. We can also send volunteers down there. You guys are... Take you for... under this man here. Send them down to the Spanish. Get one of my fighters and move them there. Alright. A lot going on. Oh yeah, my forces are down here. Move you all here. Move you all here. Discovery of the citric acid cycle. The newest publication of Kaiserreich 16 de Wichtigen Gebiet der Chemie und Chemischen Industrie. An article submitted by Hans Krebs, MD, entitled "The Role of Citric Acid in the Intermediate Metabolism in Animal Tissues." In it, Krebs presents his newest discovery of a cycle of reactions involving the molecular citric acid has proven to be essential in the function of all living organisms. The process involves a series of cyclical chemical conversions and is a vital element of cellular representation, allowing all organisms to function. The author of the paper, Dr. Hans Krebs, is a researcher at the University of Friedberg, known for the discovering the ornithine cycle in 1932, using previous work by Albert Emir Svens Georgi de Negrepult, who discovered several products and reactions in the cycle. Krebs has presented his discoveries in Succian fashion. This discovery has been seen as extremely innovative, and Krebs is already receiving further honors and renown in the scientific world. The achievement has also bolstered the reputation of German scientific circles, and more importantly, the Kaiser Wilhelm Society. A cycle of life plus 2% stability. So now we're at 3% stability. Angetreten. There goes the Second American Civil War. Oh, and the Ottomans declared war on them too. I'm sorry, Bulgaria. I don't think I have a chance in a snowball's hell. My plane should be over here. Costa Rica requests our protection. Horrified by the civil war in the United States, small nation looks inferior to its eastern and northern borders, waiting for an attack now that its protector is at war, and is requested we openly express our desire to keep Costa Rica as a sovereign state, as on-town forces encroach on Panama Canal, determined to snatch it from the failing U.S. Socialist forces in the north looking eagerly to the ill-defended Costa Rican nation. It'd be in our interest to establish a foothold on the American continent and keep a close eye on the region should the situation escalate any further. Guaranteed, Costa Rica. Yeah, cut them off there. We'll move our units right here.
Alright. Ausrücken!
Alright, yeah. I could not save Bulgaria. It did not matter what I done there. We'll do this for the Kingdom of Spain. They get German support arrives. And that reads the Legion First Leopold. Could not save Bulgaria, but maybe we can save Spain. Agitations among the SPD left. The right have now consolidated their hold of the government of Germany, and the chance of the incumbent cabinet failing due to pressure from the Reichstag has appeared increasingly narrow. As article after article is printed on the grand plans to dismantle the already fairly weak parliamentary system in Germany in order to replace it with decades of right-wing dominant social democrats grow increasingly uneasy. This concern is especially held among the young generation of the SPD, who, unlike their predecessors, have ran a far different image of politics, with the party elders enter leadership during the anti-socialist laws of the late 19th century, and this swore to always seek the most legal path to power to avoid a second period of repression. Politicians born in the 1890s or later never experienced this, and thus are far more aggressive, though not necessarily more ideologically radical. Within chapters of the SPD, trade union meetings, and socialist study groups, tense discussions taking place on whether the Social Democrats should take to the streets to fight for the defense of democracy. It seems a large bulk of the party's mass memberships are swayed by this rhetoric, leading the members of the SPD youth wing, such as Kurt Schumacher and Theodor Habach, as well as the long-forgotten yet existing radical left wing of the party, which includes people as Max Swedwitz and Kurt Rosenfield, have been recognized as leaders on this move. Though the party's central committee still expects to just wait out the short-lived period of the right-wing rule, not everybody believes democracy will simply defend itself. These thoughts are rather treasonous, lose 2% stability, and change the social democracy popularity by 3. Let's do military police. Didn't realize we didn't have that. Alright. Great peasant uprising in Poland. Pause. A national wave of peasant protests have broken out in Poland, and the events have caused some unrest even in the Prussian side of the border in Masuria and among the smallholders of Posen. The scale of the demonstrations are worrying, and should August the 4th, the government fail to contain the rebels, the strike may turn to an actual uprising against our interests. Many in the council have asked Berlin to instruct them how to handle. Alway has always been too soft on the Poles to demand action or allow him to. We'll let him handle it the best way he sees fit, because he has been the one in charge of leading them for the last little bit. We do have the choice to support either the USA or the AUS. Oh, you guys are the nationalist populace. They have changed this quite a bit. Well, if I don't support them, then the national unity wins, and they are much more aligned with my ideology. You guys are probably supporting nobody in the war, so we probably will support the AUS. Maybe not right this second, with Poland being hurt as it is. Alright, destroyed those units. Alright. With that, we will end episode 4 with the Dominion of Canada declaring war on Panama, for the Panama Canal. But yeah, with that, we did fail to save Bulgaria. There was not a lot I could have done on that one at all. They got attacked from all four sides. So we might come back and try to take Bulgaria as a, like, try to get them in our sphere of influence later on. But we shall see. Our number one goal right now is the saving the Kingdom of Spain and keeping Poland. So there's a lot of things we're trying to focus on. So I hope you all have enjoyed episode 4, and I will see you all later. Bye.